In a small city, there lived a young woman named Emma. Emma was 25 years old, and she worked in a busy office. She was an assistant manager in a marketing firm. Emma was good at her job, but she often felt overwhelmed. She faced many challenges every day. Emma struggled with stress and time management. Little by little, she learned how to improve her skills, but it was not easy. Emma grew up in a close family. Her parents always encouraged her to follow her dreams. They taught her the importance of hard work and kindness. Emma remembered how her mother stayed up late to help her with school projects. This love and support made her feel confident throughout her childhood. She loved reading and drawing, and she would spend hours lost in her imagination. But now, as she worked in a fast-paced office, things felt different. She had to learn many new skills quickly, and the pressure sometimes made her anxious. Emma lived in a small apartment near her workplace. It was cozy but very simple. Her living room had a big window that showed the view of the city park. She loved to sit there with a warm cup of tea and watch people walk by. This was her favorite time of day. It helped her relax after a long, busy day at work. When she was not at work or at home, Emma loved spending time with her friends. They enjoyed going to movies, eating out, or just chatting about life. Emma also loved taking long walks in the park to clear her mind and energize herself. This was her way of finding peace. Despite her supportive family and friends, Emma faced personal challenges at work. She often felt she had to prove herself. Sometimes, her colleagues did not understand her ideas because she was younger. This made her doubt her abilities and feel less confident. One day, during a team meeting, one of her coworkers criticized her suggestion in front of everyone. Emma felt embarrassed and disappointed. It made her question if she could ever be successful in her career. But Emma was not one to give up. Instead, she decided to learn and grow from these experiences. She wanted to be a strong leader and help her team find success. Emma promised herself that she would work on her communication skills. She wanted to speak up with confidence and share her ideas without fear. Slowly, Emma began to take small steps. She started reading books about effective communication. She also practiced speaking with her close friends, who offered supportive feedback. At the same time, Emma learned to manage her time better. She made lists and prioritized tasks to reduce her stress. She felt encouraged by small victories along the way. As Emma faced these challenges, she discovered that she was capable of growth. Her journey was just beginning, and with each lesson, she became stronger. Emma's story is not just about work. It is about self-discovery and building resilience. She was determined to learn from her struggles and find a bright path forward, not just for herself, but for anyone who felt doubt in their own life. Emma embraced the abundance mindset, believing that there were many opportunities for her if she kept pushing through. As Emma continued her journey in the marketing firm, she began to notice something troubling. Sarah, a coworker, was not very friendly. Sarah usually spoke in a sharp tone. Emma often felt uneasy around her. At first, Emma tried to brush it off. After all, everyone has off days. However, Sarah's behavior soon became a regular part of Emma's work life. Little comments and sneers seemed to appear whenever Emma voiced an idea in meetings. One day, during a team meeting, Emma suggested a new marketing strategy. She was excited and thought it could help the company. She spoke clearly and confidently, but then Sarah interrupted. "That idea is unrealistic, Emma. You should think more before you speak," she said. Emma's heart sank. She felt the eyes of her colleagues on her, and she could sense their judgment. Her cheeks flushed, and she wished the ground would swallow her whole. After the meeting, Emma sat at her desk feeling defeated. Her confidence began to fade. She thought about how she could improve her idea. "Maybe Sarah is right," Emma whispered to herself. Just then, her boss, Mr. Thompson, walked by. He looked at Emma with a smile, but then glanced at her work. "You need to be quicker with this project, Emma," he said. "I expect better results." Those words added to the weight she already felt. The pressure was building, and her doubts grew. Days went by, and Sarah continued to make little digs at Emma. "Why don't you take 3 tries before sending that email? We wouldn't want any mistakes," she would say, laughing with a group of coworkers. Their laughter felt loud in Emma's ears, and it hurt her heart. It was hard to feel motivated when everyone else seemed to agree with Sarah. These moments made each day at work feel more challenging. Emma wanted to stand up for herself, but she was scared. What if they all turned against her? She worried that raising her voice would only lead to more backlash. Her stomach twisted in knots. She thought about her family and all the love they gave her. What would they think if they saw her struggling? She hoped they would remind her to be strong. Emma often spent her lunch breaks in the park. While sitting on a bench, she stared at the trees and the sky above. The fresh air felt good, and she tried to find peace. During one of those breaks, she met Julie, a kind woman who worked in the same building. Julie noticed Emma's worry. "You look stressed. Do you want to talk?" she asked. Emma felt a small spark of warmth from Julie's kindness. They began chatting, and Emma shared the difficulties she faced with Sarah. "It's tough when someone makes you feel small. But remember, you have the right to speak your mind," Julie encouraged. "People can be mean, but you are strong, Emma. You deserve to be heard." These words filled Emma with a little hope. She realized she had someone on her side. Julie's support helped Emma feel less alone in the fight. Even with the support from Julie, Emma knew she needed to confront her challenges at work. She had to find a way to overcome the fear and build her confidence. With each passing day, the atmosphere at work became heavier, but Emma vowed to discover her strength. She decided to take small steps, believing that her voice mattered and that she could change the situation. With hope in her heart and support in her mind, Emma prepared for the challenges ahead. She wanted her voice to be strong because now she knew she could face the storm coming her way. As the days passed, Emma felt the weight of the toxic environment at work grow heavier. Sarah's sharp remarks became a regular part of her day. It was like a shadow that chased her wherever she went. Emma tried hard to keep her head up, but slowly those comments began to affect her thoughts. She found it difficult to focus on her tasks, and little mistakes started happening because her mind was clouded with doubt. One afternoon, Emma sat at her desk, staring at her computer screen. There was a project due soon, and it needed her attention. But all she could think about was Sarah's words echoing in her mind. "You are not good enough," they seemed to whisper. Emma shook her head, trying to push those thoughts away. "I can do this," she told herself. Yet, the fear began to creep in as she thought about the meeting ahead. Would Sarah criticize her again? Would her boss be disappointed? Emma felt so small at that moment. During a coffee break, Emma watched her colleagues chatting and laughing. They seemed to enjoy their time together, but she felt distant. She tried to join in, but their conversations felt like they were meant for everyone except her. She often found herself standing alone in the corner, holding her cup and feeling invisible. It was hard to see others enjoying their work while she struggled. Emma felt isolated, and this loneliness touched her heart deeply. At night, after work, she would lie in bed, thinking about quitting. "Maybe I should find a job where I belong," she thought. The idea tempted her, but deep down, she was not ready to give up. She wanted to prove to herself that she could be strong. Yet the thought of standing up to Sarah made her stomach twist in fear. Emma often fell asleep with her heart racing, wondering if she was cut out for this job. One evening, Emma met Julie again in the park during their usual chat. After sharing her frustrations, Julia looked at her with concern. "Emma, I can see how this is affecting you. You deserve to feel happy at work. You have talent and ideas that matter," she said gently. Emma sighed deeply. "But what if I'm not good enough? What if I fight back and it makes things worse?" she replied, feeling vulnerable. Julie smiled softly. "Sometimes, standing up for yourself is hard, but you are not alone. You can do this because you believe in yourself. Think of all the good things you want to achieve, not the bad." Emma reflected on this, feeling a glimmer of strength return. She realized that silence would not help her grow. She needed to reclaim her confidence and take small actions. Despite her fear, Emma made a mental note of one step she could take. Instead of avoiding situations, she decided to prepare herself. She would write down her ideas clearly and with confidence. She would practice speaking her mind, not just to Julie, but also in meetings. When faced with critique, she would hold her head high, remember Julie's words, and truly believe in her worth. Emma knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but she started to feel a sense of control returning to her life. She focused on small victories, gathering strength from each positive thought. The journey would still be filled with challenges, but Emma was ready to face the difficult moments, knowing that she had a choice. At that moment, she chose to believe in herself, marking the beginning of her transformation. Hope sparked a fire within her, igniting a newfound determination to take charge of her future. Emma felt the pressure of her workplace growing heavier with each passing day. The stress was a weight on her shoulders that she could no longer ignore. As the deadline for the big marketing campaign approached, the tension around the office increased. Sarah's bullying continued, and it made Emma's heart race every time they met. Now, even small tasks felt like mountains to climb, and every step made her chest tighten with fear. One morning, everything came to a head. The team was called into a meeting to discuss the latest project updates. Emma prepared well. She had written her ideas down and practiced talking about them. As she entered the meeting room, she felt a wave of confidence wash over her. But as soon as everyone sat down, Emma noticed Sarah's familiar sneer. That unease flickered back into her mind, questioning her worth once again. During the meeting, Emma presented her ideas carefully. She watched her coworkers, hoping they would support her. But just as Emma finished speaking, Sarah raised her hand and interrupted. "This is all wrong. Who would trust this plan? You really need to listen more, Emma," she said coldly. The laughter from their coworkers followed, like dark clouds closing in around Emma. She felt a wave of heat in her cheeks and tears pricked her eyes. Her heart sank as she realized Sarah had turned her colleagues against her. In that moment, something inside Emma snapped. She had reached her breaking point. No longer did she want to be bullied in silence. "Enough is enough," she said, surprising even herself with her boldness. "I have worked hard on this project. I believe in my ideas." Emma's voice grew stronger as she continued, fueled by a mix of fury and determination. "You do not have to agree with me, but you must respect me." There was stillness in the room as everyone stared at Emma, their faces reflecting shock. For the first time, she confronted Sarah clearly. Inside, Emma felt a tornado of emotions: fear, anger, and hope. She realized the time for quiet suffering had passed, and she was ready to fight for herself. Sarah's expression darkened, and she opened her mouth to respond. At that moment, Emma knew this was her chance to change everything. She had always wanted to please people and blend in, but now she understood that standing out was necessary for her to grow. She lifted her chin, holding on to the confidence that had been building within her. As Sarah prepared to speak, Emma suddenly felt her knees shake, and she swallowed hard. What if Sarah retaliated? What if her colleagues turned away from her? But deep down, she knew that silence would only allow the abuse to continue. Emma took a deep breath, focusing on the words she wanted to say next. "I know I am not perfect, but I am learning. We all have room to grow." Breathless, she continued, "Let's work together better. We can help each other instead of tearing each other apart." This openness felt like freedom, and to her surprise, a few of her colleagues nodded in agreement. Their small gestures brought warmth to Emma's heart and offered her a glimpse of hope. In that intense moment, Emma faced her fears. She felt the pressure begin to lift slightly, but Sarah held her gaze with anger. As the confrontation hung in the air, Emma sensed it was now or never. She had taken a stand, and that was the first step toward change. Despite the unknown, Emma had chosen to fight. For herself, for her ideas, and for the confidence she wished to reclaim. After Emma spoke up for herself, the room was filled with stunned silence. Her heart raced. She had stepped into the light, and the weight of her words hung heavily in the air. However, Sarah's expression turned into one of pure anger. "How dare you speak to me like that?" Sarah shouted, her voice sharp and venomous. Emma felt a chill run down her spine as Sarah's anger pierced through her brave front. Mr. Thompson, Emma's boss, intervened. "Let's take a step back," he said, attempting to ease the tension. But Emma's body felt frozen in fear. She had fought for her voice, yet here she was, facing a backlash she had not expected. Instead of feeling strong, guilt washed over her like a cold wave. Perhaps she had gone too far. Doubts crept into her mind as she feared there would be consequences for standing up. Later that day, as she sat at her desk, Emma's heart sank further. She could see Sarah whispering to a group of coworkers, casting her resentful looks Emma's way. Emma tried to focus on her tasks, but anxiety tightened its grip around her. She wondered if Sarah would make her life even harder now. Would Sarah try to get back at her for standing firm? The pressure felt weighty, and Emma could feel her confidence slipping away. Feeling isolated, Emma held her head in her hands, wishing she had kept quiet. "Maybe I should have just let it go," she whispered to herself. The fear of losing friendships and opportunities gnawed at her. The thought of returning to that meeting in the future made her heart ache. What would she say when Sarah was ready to retaliate? As days passed, the uneasiness grew. Emma noticed her colleagues whispering and avoiding eye contact. It stung her heart. She felt like she had lost not only her voice, but also the connection with her team. Emma tried to distract herself with work, but work felt harder than ever. Simple tasks took longer, and mistakes came easily. Instead of confidence, she felt fear creeping back in, wrapping around her thoughts like ivy on a wall. She began to feel trapped in her job. The walls of her office seemed to close in. On her lunch breaks, she wandered the park but found no comfort. Even the beautiful trees seemed dull. Friends would call and text her, but each time she answered, a wave of sadness washed over her. She needed support, but she hesitated to seek it. Emma wanted to reach out, but feared their judgment. One evening, as she lay awake in bed, her heart raced with an overwhelming sense of worry. What if things never got better? What if quitting was her only option? The thought was both frightening and relieving. To escape felt tempting. I can run away, she thought bitterly. But deep down, she knew quitting would not solve her problems. Emma could not lose herself in desperation. Finally, she allowed herself to cry. It was a release, but tears also brought clarity. In her heart, Emma knew she could not give up. However, the moment still felt cold and lonely. She focused on her breathing, trying to calm the chaos inside. Slowly, she realized something needed to change, not her heart, but her actions. Emma began to think about her next move, even though the shadows of doubt still lingered. Though she felt broken, she knew she had the power to either let this situation define her or forge a new path forward. With a determined heart, she began to plan her next steps. One particularly quiet evening, Emma walked through the park, her thoughts swirling like the autumn leaves around her. The air felt crisp, and the sunset painted the sky in beautiful hues. As she took a deep breath, trying to shake off her heavy feelings, she turned a corner and saw Julie sitting on a bench. Julie had become her friend through her struggles, and seeing her there brought a flicker of warmth to Emma's heart. "Hey, Emma, come sit with me," Julie called, her voice cheerful. With a slight smile, Emma walked over and sat down. They spoke about their day, but Emma soon found herself sharing her worries and fears. "I feel stuck, Julie," she admitted, her voice trembling. "I don't know what to do about Sarah or this job. Every day feels heavier than the last." Julie listened intently, her expression filled with compassion. "You are not alone, Emma. You deserve to feel better. Have you thought about what makes you happy?" she asked gently, her eyes encouraging. Emma sighed deeply, looking at the ground. "I used to enjoy coming up with ideas and working on projects," she replied slowly. "But now I feel tired and afraid." "Think about what you love to do, not just the work. Can you find a way to bring that joy back?" Julie suggested. Emma looked at her friend, feeling a flicker of hope. She thought about the moments when creativity flowed through her. In those moments, everything felt possible. "I want to be myself again, but I don't know how," Emma confessed. As they talked, a realization began to dawn on Emma. She understood that her fear of Sarah and the job was not greater than her desire to flourish. "Maybe I have allowed fear to take control," she mused aloud. "I have the skills and ideas needed to make a change." Julie nodded, a smile starting to appear on her face. "Exactly. You are strong, Emma. Focusing on what you love can help clear out some of that fear." A warmth spread through Emma as she considered this new way of thinking. Instead of running away from her problems, perhaps she could face them head-on by embracing what she enjoyed about work. If she put energy into creativity, maybe that would bring back her confidence. Emma felt a surge of determination. The doubt that had filled her mind began to fade, replaced by a spark of purpose. "I can do this," she murmured, more to herself than to Julie. "I can refocus on my ideas and plan how to present them." With a hopeful heart, Emma began to envision bringing her creative ideas to the team. She imagined sharing the excitement that had once inspired her. If she could structure her thoughts and follow her passions, it might change the atmosphere at work. As she spoke with Julie, Emma felt the heaviness lift off her shoulders. It was a turning point, the kind of moment that sparked change. She realized that she could reclaim her space at work and transform her feelings into energy for action. With newfound determination, Emma made a promise to herself. She would focus on her creativity, challenge the negativity, and face Sarah and her fears with confidence. That night, as Emma lay in bed, she felt lighter than in weeks. For the first time, her heart was filled with hope. She understood she had the power to create change in her life. She would not allow anyone to take that away from her. Emma drifted off to sleep, excited for the steps she would take in the coming days. She was ready to embrace her journey toward growth, and she felt ready to shine again. As Emma entered the office the following week, she felt a wave of determination wash over her. She knew that she had made the choice to step into her power. It was time to take action. The feeling of fear that had held her back was slowly lifting. Each day brought more clarity, and she was ready to embrace new possibilities. She had spent the weekend thinking about her ideas and how to share them with her team. After a good night's sleep, Emma decided that facing her fears would be her first step. That morning, she walked into the break room with an extra boost of confidence. She approached a few colleagues who had seemed distant lately. "Hey, I've been thinking of some ideas for our project," she started, feeling her heart race, but knowing she needed to push through the nerves. "Can we discuss them together?" To her surprise, her colleagues nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, let's hear what you have," one of them replied. Emma felt her spirits lift as the conversations flowed. She shared her thoughts openly, and they offered suggestions while building on her ideas. Through this exchange, Emma realized that she was not alone, and her voice was valued. Every positive response from her team reinforced her belief that sharing her vision was fully within her reach. The more she engaged with her colleagues, the more supported Emma felt. That week turned around for her, and the energy in the office felt vibrant again. As days passed, Emma noticed a change at work. Sarah was still present, but Emma had adopted a new mindset. She refused to let negativity ruin her progress. Instead, when faced with criticism, Emma responded with calm confidence. One day, during a team meeting, Sarah tried to undermine Emma's ideas again. But this time, Emma stood tall. "I appreciate your feedback, Sarah," she said with a clear voice. "I believe this approach could generate successful results based on our market research. Let's see where it leads our efforts." Emma could feel her own strength blooming as she held her ground. After the meeting, Emma realized that not only was she sharing her ideas, but she was also taking charge of her reactions. The anxiety that had once filled her thoughts now transformed into a sense of control. She had cultivated a new habit to breathe, reflect, and respond rather than react in fear. This shift put her in the driver's seat of her career and emotions. During her breaks, she spent time reflecting on this progress, even journaling the positive changes each day brought. The act of writing her thoughts became empowering for Emma. It gave her clarity and reinforced the belief that she was moving in the right direction. One afternoon, Emma bumped into Julie during lunch. "You seem different," Julie said with a warm smile. Emma felt a flutter of joy. "I am," Emma replied, her heart swelling. "I realized that I have the power to create change and live the way I want." Determination flowed through Emma as she described her growth and how she learned to accept feedback positively. Julie cheered her on, and in that moment, Emma understood how far she had come. This journey was not just about facing Sarah. It was about discovering her true self. From that day on, Emma embraced every opportunity to showcase her talents, and she didn't just see obstacles, she saw chances to learn. With each step, she dismantled the fears that had held her back, deciding instead to transform her mindset and emotions. Emma recognized that she was not just surviving, she was thriving. With hope lighting her path, she welcomed the adventures that lay ahead, eager to foster a bright future full of potential. As Emma continued to grow in her confidence, she started to set clearer boundaries at work. She realized that it was important to protect her ideas and feelings. One morning, she entered the office and felt determination welling up inside her. Sarah's behavior had made her uncomfortable for a long time, and it was time to take further action. Emma understood that establishing boundaries was essential for her well-being. After a particularly tough week, Emma decided it was time to have a conversation with Mr. Thompson, her boss. She knew that discussing Sarah's behavior and its impact on the team was important. Emma felt a mix of nervousness and strength as she prepared to approach him. She could not let fear stop her from speaking her truth. That afternoon, she walked into Mr. Thompson's office, took a deep breath, and knocked on his door. "Come in," he called. Emma stepped inside, her heart racing. "Mr. Thompson, I would like to discuss something important," she began. With a clear voice, she shared her experience of Sarah's bullying behavior and how it affected her work. As she spoke, she maintained eye contact and stood tall. This was no longer a whispered conversation. It was a matter of importance. Mr. Thompson listened carefully, his expression serious. "I appreciate you bringing this to my attention, Emma. I want this to be a positive environment for everyone," he replied. I will look into the situation and make sure we address it." Emma felt a wave of relief wash over her. She realized that she was not alone. Her voice mattered, and that gave her strength. Later that week, Emma noticed changes in the office. Mr. Thompson appeared to have talked to everyone about fostering a supportive atmosphere. Colleagues had started to show more kindness towards one another. The shift was subtle but powerful. Emma felt proud of her decision to speak to her boss. It was a step toward creating a better workspace, not just for herself, but for her team. While Sarah's behavior had not fully changed, Emma approached her with a renewed mindset. One morning, they were working on a project together, and Sarah made another snarky comment. Instead of ignoring it, Emma decided to respond. "I believe we can work better if we focus on the project and support each other," she said calmly. Sarah looked taken aback, but did not respond. Her lack of reaction surprised Emma, but also lifted her spirits. It was a win for Emma to stand her ground. The following days brought new challenges. Emma faced resistance from Sarah, who attempted to undermine her even more. In moments of doubt, Emma would remember her conversation with Julie and how far she had come. She felt stronger with each instance of standing up for herself. Colleagues began to notice Emma's change. They quietly supported her efforts, sharing smiles and reassurance. One afternoon, while taking a break, Emma chatted with Mark, a teammate. "I have noticed a change in you, Emma," he said. "You seem happier and more confident." His words warmed her heart. Emma felt a sense of community begin to form again within the team. They encouraged one another to thrive, breaking the mold of fear that previously surrounded them. Encouraged by these changes, Emma pushed herself even more. She began suggesting ideas in team meetings with excitement and clarity, welcoming feedback and input. She observed how a supportive atmosphere helped everyone participate with enthusiasm. With every goal accomplished, Emma felt proud to be part of a team that was maturing together. As the weeks went by, Emma knew she had made the right choice by stepping forward. Her story had transformed from fear to courage, and she no longer felt trapped. Instead, Emma saw a bright path of progress ahead. She was fully aware of the power of her voice and the importance of setting healthy boundaries. This was not just about her journey. It was about creating a space where others could grow, ensuring a positive and respectful workplace for everyone. Emma is ready to embrace the future with strength and determination. With each passing day, Emma felt more confident in her abilities and judgment. She had taken significant steps to change her work environment, yet she was aware that there was still much to do. One morning, Emma entered the office with a clear goal in mind: to lead her team through a challenging project successfully. The project was important because it would showcase the team's performance to management. As she gathered her materials, Emma remembered all the anxiety and fear she had once felt about these situations. Now, she felt a new sense of strength. She knew how to communicate and share ideas effectively. Over the next few days, Emma encouraged her team to contribute their thoughts. She created a space where everyone felt valued. When someone had a creative suggestion, she made sure to acknowledge and build on it. By the end of that week, the team's collaboration was on fire. However, not long after, Sarah attempted to undermine Emma during a team meeting once again. "I don't think that approach is right, Emma," Sarah said, raising her voice a little too loudly. "It sounds risky, and I wouldn't recommend it." Emma's heart began to race, but she took a deep breath. She remembered the skills she had built and all the support she had gained from her friends. Before she could answer, Mark, one of Emma's colleagues, spoke up. "I think Emma's idea has potential," he said with confidence. "We did the research, and if we manage the risks carefully, I see many benefits." Emma felt her throat tighten with gratitude. Having someone stand up for her felt incredible. This small act ignited hope within her. It solidified her belief that she was worthy of respect. With his support, Emma felt empowered. She turned her gaze to Sarah, who looked surprised by the change in the room's energy. "Thank you, Mark. I believe we can achieve our goal by carefully reviewing our options and planning well, as you mentioned," Emma said calmly. Instead of retreating back into doubt, Emma stood firm in her decision and engaged the team in discussing their plans. As the team moved forward, Emma noticed how the atmosphere transformed. People were collaborating, sharing laughter, and working hard. It felt good to be part of something positive. They completed the project just in time, meeting the deadline with a sense of pride and excitement. After the presentation, Mr. Thompson praised the team for their effort. Emma felt a warm glow of success. In that moment, Emma understood that her growth was not just personal, it was team-based. She had learned the importance of finding allies and creating a supportive work environment. This achievement felt rewarding, and Emma knew she had built a new foundation for her success. To solidify this growth even further, Emma decided to take the next step. She started keeping a notebook by her side. In it, she wrote down all her ideas, successes, and moments of gratitude. Each page was a reminder of how far she had come. Emma wanted to expand on her self-reflection habit as a regular practice, ensuring that as she grew, she would not forget her journey. Throughout these days, Emma had transformed from a timid assistant manager to a strong leader in her division. Her growth was not just a victory, but a blueprint for action. She realized that setting boundaries, standing up for herself, and seeking support were crucial steps in transforming her work life. She felt peace within herself. With challenges still ahead, Emma was well prepared to face them. With newfound clarity, she embraced her future with excitement, ready to lead not just herself but her team toward brighter days ahead. As weeks passed, Emma's growth became clear to her and her colleagues. The atmosphere at work had changed significantly. Team members were more supportive and open, embracing a positive culture that Emma had worked hard to build. She felt proud of her contribution and recognized that she had become a leader in her workplace. With each day, her confidence grew, but Emma knew there was still more to achieve. One quiet afternoon, while working at her desk, Emma took a moment to reflect. She thought about all the difficulties she had faced and overcome. The workplace bullying that once made her feel trapped no longer held power over her. Emma had strengthened herself, and now she controlled her path forward. Yet, she felt the need to make a final decision that would shape her future. That evening, Emma sat in her cozy apartment. With a notebook in hand, she began to write down her long-term career goals. What do I truly want? She asked herself. She knew that her first priority was to maintain a healthy work environment and to cultivate a team spirit. More than anything, Emma wanted to thrive in her career while being true to herself. She realized that her experiences had guided her toward what mattered most: contentment and respect in the workplace. Deciding to take action, Emma reached out to Mr. Thompson and requested a meeting. She wanted to discuss her future and the vision she had for her role in the company. Sitting across from him in his office, Emma felt a mix of nerves and excitement. I have been reflecting on my goals, and I want to take on more responsibility and leadership, she started, speaking clearly. I believe I can help guide our team toward continued success, and I also want to promote our foundations of support and respect further. Mr. Thompson listened, nodding thoughtfully as she spoke. I appreciate your initiative, Emma. You have grown tremendously, and I believe you will bring valuable ideas to the table, he replied warmly. Let's develop a plan together to see how you can step into a more prominent role. Emma beamed with joy. Together, they began to outline her new responsibilities and potential projects she could lead. After the meeting, Emma returned to her desk feeling an overwhelming sense of relief and accomplishment. She realized she had taken a significant step in her journey. Setting long-term career goals made her feel invigorated and inspired to work harder than ever. Emma knew she wanted to be a leader who helped others feel valued, just like she had learned to value her own voice. Weeks turned into months, and Emma thrived in her new role. She set up mentoring sessions for new team members, focusing on creating a motivational environment. Colleagues congratulated her success, knowing that the changes benefited everyone. Emma built strong relationships, and her friendships at work began to grow deeper and more authentic. Looking back, Emma understood that her journey was not just about overcoming past fear. It was about rediscovering her voice and passion for her work. The sense of empowerment she felt drove her forward, transforming her approach to challenges. When faced with difficulties, she could tackle them head-on. Emma had found her place and set a clear vision for a future where respect, collaboration, and creativity thrived. Now, with confidence blooming in her heart, Emma embraced the possibilities ahead. She felt ready to face any challenge. The past taught her that with strength and perseverance, she could design her career and life in ways she had once only dreamed about. Emma looked toward the future with hope and excitement, knowing that she had the power to shape her own path. Months went by, and Emma continued to flourish in her role. She implemented new programs to ensure all team members felt supported. Her efforts were making a real difference, and the office atmosphere was vibrant and friendly. Emma felt fulfilled as she saw her colleagues grow and thrive alongside her. Together, they celebrated small wins and lifted each other when things got tough. As the season changed and spring approached, Emma felt ready for new challenges. She often reflected on how far she had come since the days when the fear of Sarah's bullying consumed her. With a healthier mindset, Emma found optimism in each day's possibilities. She sensed that this spirit needed to carry her even further. Emma began to dream about the next steps in her career. What could she achieve beyond the marketing firm? One Friday afternoon, while having coffee with Julie, Emma shared her ambitions. "I feel ready for something new, Julie. I would like to explore roles outside our company and expand my experience. I want to challenge myself on a bigger scale," she revealed, a spark of excitement in her eyes. Julie nodded, supportive and eager to see Emma take that leap. "You should definitely look into it. Your skills are amazing, and you have so much to offer," she encouraged. Emma felt encouraged by her friend's confidence. Inspired by their conversation, Emma decided to take action. That evening, she updated her resume, highlighting her achievements and experiences. She thought about all the successful projects and the leadership skills she had developed. With each point she added, her confidence soared. Emma also wrote down her goals and what she wanted in her next job. "I want a position where I can continue to grow, be part of a supportive team, and influence positive change," she thought as she worked. The following week, Emma began networking through professional platforms and reaching out to former colleagues. She set up informational interviews to learn about other roles and companies. Each conversation helped her clarify what she was looking for. The excitement of new possibilities filled her with energy. Emma began to research companies that aligned with her values, where respect and empowerment were at the heart of the culture. Within weeks, invitations to interviews started flooding in. Emma prepared for each one, practicing her answers and strengthening her approach. She was no longer the timid assistant manager filled with self-doubt. She was now a confident leader who knew her worth. Emma embraced each interview as an opportunity to share her journey and vision for her career. Through this process, Emma learned valuable lessons about resilience and self-belief. With every challenge she faced, she reminded herself that she could navigate transitions with grace. Emma understood that growth would require her to step outside her comfort zone, but she felt invigorated by the support she had built around her. Finally, during an interview with a company known for its positive culture and innovation, Emma felt a spark of connection. The moment she shared her ideas, she recognized it was a place where she could truly thrive. A few days later, she received a call with the offer she had hoped for. Emma couldn't contain her joy. She accepted it with excitement and felt proud of everything she had achieved. With her new job on the horizon, Emma looked back gratefully at her journey. She had transformed fear into strength, challenges into growth, and dreams into reality. Each step had taught her how to embrace her power in the workplace. As she prepared to start this new chapter, Emma was filled with hope. She felt ready to create not just a new job, but a beautiful, fulfilling career journey. With her newfound mindset, Emma embraced her future, knowing that she could overcome any challenge that came her way.